Fellas, we about to go deep. Pause. We're gonna dive deeper into the idea of the nice guys and why they get rejected, but specifically, why do nice guys get sexually rejected every single time? Right? So we're gonna go through this and we're gonna analyze this and understand from a deeper layer why this happens. And to be honest, I come from a background of being a nice guy. So I understand this at a visceral level, which is why I can teach you this stuff. But this is the deeper part. It's not just, oh, yeah, you're a nice guy. Stop being a nice guy. I'm going to go deep into why you're a nice guy and why you need to get out of that as fast as possible, or else your whole life will spiral. Right. So the core question is, why do nice guys get rejected, especially sexually? Right. Because they hide their shadow behind a fake mask. So the thing is, a lot of men tend to believe that being nice is what women want. So they suppress all of their assertiveness, right? They downplay their desires. They walk on eggshells when the woman's around, right? You ever see those guys who walk on eggshells when their wife is around or when their girlfriend's around or when they're at home? They always want to just like go out and just be away from the women and just because they just cannot be themselves around women, right? Because they want to avoid upsetting women. And despite all of this effort, they find themselves consistently friend zoned, ghosted, or completely rejected. And even worse, they get rejected in relationships by the woman with her saying she doesn't want to fuck them. Right? I pause there because it's true. A lot of men nowadays, they do not, and I repeat, they do not understand why the woman that they're with keeps giving them excuses of why they don't want to have sex with them. And there is a big reason why that exists, because they're too fucking nice. And I'm going to explain why this is a thing. The painful truth is that your niceness is not the actual problem. It's the authenticity that's the problem. Because when you present a sanitized version of yourself with that mask on, that nice guy mask, women will sense the disconnect between your words and your energy, and they feel the mask, not the man behind it. Right? So now you become somebody that she has no idea who you truly are. And so the nice guy isn't actually nice. He's just dishonest. That's why nice guys, the fucking most dishonest people that you'll ever find. I don't want to be around nice guys like that. Didn't even want to be around myself when I was a nice guy, right? But you got to understand that. And so he's hiding his true nature because he doesn't believe that it's acceptable. He doesn't believe that his genuine desires, his shadows, which we'll dive into shadow work, we'll dive into how that's important. He doesn't believe his shadows are acceptable, right? So that disconnect creates unease and even disgust, triggering rejection that leaves you confused if you're a nice guy and resentful. And the solution isn't becoming a dickhead, fellas. I'm not telling you to be an asshole. It's about becoming real. Who the fuck are you? Right? That's what matters. So first thing you have to do is understand your shadow. A lot of men do not understand their shadow. The shadow is not weakness. Your shadow is not weakness. It is raw primal energy that fuels your life force. It contains everything society taught you to repress. For example, aggression and dominance, right? Your capacity to confront people, compete with people, overcome obstacles. You were probably taught to repress this by society, right? Same thing with primal sexuality. Your unapologetic lust and sexual desires were forced to basically be pushed down by society. Society pushed that down. By the way, what happens when society suppresses something? It expresses itself in the most visceral way, in the worst possible way. What is that expression of primal sexuality? Porn. You see guys watching the worst possible porn. They watch some wild shit. They watch women getting fucked by horses. They watch all kinds of crazy shit, right? Because that primal thing is kept down. Same with aggression and dominance, right? When your aggression and your dominance is held down so hard and you have to be this nice guy, this mask, and you have to suppress all of that, that comes out by all of a sudden you see a man who used to be nice beat the shit out of a woman. And you're like, how could this have happened? Because that rage, that aggression, that dominance was suppressed. That's why I'm saying the nice guy is the most dangerous person in society right now, right? Same with healthy selfishness, right? Your ability to prioritize your needs and ambitions. That's very important. Power and ambition, right? Your hunger to lead, your hunger to achieve, your hunger to influence other people. All of these things, when they're suppressed, they manifest themselves in the worst possible way. So when you bury these aspects of yourself, you don't eliminate them, they go underground, and that's the worst possible way. So they emerge as passive aggressive behavior, resentment, neediness. So when you deny your shadow, you deny the very aspects of masculinity that create polarity and attraction. Simple, right? So what is the nice guy mask? This is very important to understand the nice guy mask, right? First, it starts off as the polite exterior, right? And what does that mean? That means you have overly polite and accommodating, even though you don't fucking want to be, afraid to express disagreement, even though you completely disagree with a person, constantly seeking approval because you need somebody else to validate that you're a legitimate person, to validate your own self confidence, your own self value, your own self worth, positioning himself as safe and harmless, right? Because you want people to believe that you're harmless, which is the worst possible thing. I want people to know that I'm dangerous, and not dangerous from a corny alpha male perspective. You know, guys are like, be dangerous, be dangerous. No, I genuinely want people to believe that I can inflict pain, I can inflict danger on them if they cross me. It's simple. That's what you want people to actually understand about you. You, the nice guy positioning himself as safe and harmless, that's how people walk the fuck all over you. And then all of a sudden, you start to get resentment and you start to hate society. And you start to hate God, right? If you had some sort of faith in God at one point, you think God's the reason why all of your problems. No, it's you. It is you. If you don't believe God exists, cool. I'm not talking to you. The interior, right? So now we got the polite exterior, the nice guy mask. Then we have the hidden cracks, right? That create this resentment and neediness and sexual frustration at the bottom. So this is where you have simmering resentment towards women, which a lot of men do nowadays. Let's be fucking honest. A lot of men nowadays have resentment towards women. They think women are the worst people in the world. They're like, they've withdrawn from the sexual marketplace. They don't even want to compete in the arena anymore. They're just backing out. They think that's the best route. No, you're just a fucking coward. It's just that simple. You don't want to play the game. The game got too complex for you and you bowed out, which is fine. It's fine if you bow out, but admit that you're a coward. It's the same with guys who bow out of business, right? They bow out of the business thing. They're like, everything's a scam. Business is hard. It's a scam. Everything is a scam. Yeah, you bowed out, bro. Just admit it and move on. But again, the interior, unexpressed sexual frustration. You get so frustrated that a woman just keeps saying no to you. You live with this woman. She literally is next to you every single night, and she does not want to have sex with you because there's something incongruent about you, which we'll talk about. There's something incongruent about you that is triggering her to not want to fuck you. So then you get to a certain point where now you start to think, what the fuck? I hate that. Why? I could just be with another woman right now. I'm telling you, I'm saying this because this used to be me. This used to be me. I used to, women, I could attract all the women, right? But then over time in these relationships that I get into, there'd be times where, okay, we're having sex maybe once a month, once every 2 months. Not because I got just ugly or I got out of shape or I got whatever. I stopped. I wasn't congruent. I was too fucking nice. There was no edge. We're going to talk about that. When you integrate the shadow, there's an edge. So then you have this sexual frustration that you let out by watching porn in the closet while she's sleeping or while she's away or some shit like that, just to get the release out. Because again, you don't want to cheat. Because that's the nice guy. The nice guy doesn't. Here's the thing, fellas. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Because y'all that have high IQ, y'all that aren't midwits will understand what I'm saying. I'm not telling men to cheat on women. But if a woman is weaponizing sex against you and you're stuck in a situation, for example, where you live with her and all of a sudden, like you can't get out very easily. You can't just leave very easily. You're stuck with her. You have full authority to have sex with other women. Simple, plain and simple. If you're not getting it from the woman that you have a relationship with, then you have full authority to do that shit. This is what a lot of men don't want to hear. And this is what a lot of women don't want to hear because they want to weaponize exclusivity. They want to weaponize all of this shit. But men are suffering because they're too nice. She has no dread. She doesn't even think that you'll ever leave. She doesn't ever think that there can be another woman that can replace her because you're not dangerous. I'm telling you this from personal experience. When you sit in that resentment for so long, and you allow this woman to play with you, you allow this woman to genuinely make you sexually frustrated. You're giving her everything. You're financing her, maybe, right? Or you're giving her protection. You're giving her your emotions. You're giving her your energy. You're giving her all of this shit. What are you getting in return? If you're getting nothing, get the fuck out. If you can't get the fuck out, then find somebody else in the process and let her know. That's the thing, right? You can literally start to be honest. That's the thing. When you're not honest and you're doing shit behind closed doors and you're not telling the person, that's bad. But what I'm telling you is you tell her, look, I'm going to go out and do my thing because obviously this shit's not working. I'm telling you, you can say that shit. Don't hold that shit in. Be authentic. Be you. Right? So a lot of men won't agree with me on this. It's fine. It's okay. You don't have to agree with everything that I say. But this is the fucking truth. There's a lot of men who are stuck in handcuffs in a relationship, moved in with the woman, right? Which is fine. You move in with her. Okay, but remember, if you pick the wrong woman and you're stuck with that woman because there's a lease on you, both of your heads, you have to be comfortable with getting the fuck out as soon as possible or figuring out another option while you live with that woman. The nice guy will try to make shit work. Fuck that. I'm telling you, sexual frustration, women weaponizing sex is the boundary that you have to have as a man. That is what nice guys don't have. They don't have that boundary for when a woman uses sex as a weapon against you. You know how fucking painful that is? But again, then there's deep-seated shame about your desires, right? And then you have a transactional mindset about relationships. Now, everything you do, you go, you clean the dishes or some shit. I don't fucking know. Or you buy flowers for her, and you're not buying flowers because you love her or because you just want to make her feel good. You're doing it because you want to have sex. You're doing it because you want her to feel you. You want her to actually be attracted to you for once. But she's not. She can see through the bullshit. And I'll explain why women can see through the bullshit. But it's true. And this contradiction creates enormous mental or internal tension within you, right? When you have this internal tension, what happens is the more you repress your authentic self, the more disconnected you become, both from yourself and from the woman that you're trying to attract. So now your energy becomes stagnant, your presence becomes diminished, and your interactions with women become awkward and forced. And you wonder why, right? Because you're incongruent. You have this fucking mask on. So this is why women reject nice guys, right? And this is something that's very, very important that I want you to really understand. Women have evolved highly sensitive radars for detecting incongruence in men. And this all comes from their survival and their reproductive success historically that's depended on choosing men who are both powerful enough to protect and trustworthy enough not to harm them, right? So they can sense deception from an evolutionary biology perspective. So when you wonder how a woman can see through all the bullshit that you have, that's why. When a woman's not in tune, when you're dealing with a low value woman, she's not going to know, right? She's not going to know. But there's women who are very, very intuitive that understand shit and they'll see through the bullshit. And they might play you or they might just tell you, I don't have time for you, right? So they sense deception. When your words, your actions, and your energy don't align, aka incongruency, women intuitively feel something is off. And this triggers distrust and discomfort. And so they feel no spark. And without the edge of your shadow energy, which we'll talk about, there's no polarity to create attraction. The interaction feels flat and passionless. And you get the saying, oh yeah, I didn't feel a spark. I feel like there's no spark in this relationship anymore. It doesn't feel like we're really connected anymore. I don't really feel the energy anymore. That's why, that's why. So they detect neediness, right? So your suppressed desires leak out as validation seeking behavior, right? Which signals low value and desperation. So women can detect the neediness that you have. The reason why you're constantly saying, well, I hope that you're safe. I just want to make you safe. I just want to do this. Oh yeah, you're so beautiful. You're so this. You're needing their validation. You're putting them on a pedestal. A woman doesn't want a man who's trying to be what he thinks she wants. She wants a man who knows who he is and isn't afraid to show it. Doesn't matter who the fuck you are. There's a reason why someone like Ted Bundy gets all the women. Obviously, he had a negative motive, right? I'm not saying that's what you need to have, but he was fully himself. Motherfucker was a psychopath. Fully congruent with that. Literally. Now, predator versus the protector dynamic. And again, for the midwits, hopefully the midwits have logged off because their attention spans are very low. But if you're a little high IQ, you understand what I mean by predator. It means that you are a force of nature. It means that you are somebody who is both dangerous and exciting at the same time. Somebody who is high risk, right? So what you have to understand, there is a balanced attraction, right, in the middle. And this is a full-on spiral, little, almost like a triangle type of thing. And there's an integrated man. Now, to have the balanced attraction, you have to have sexual assertiveness, you have to have safety and care, and you have to be an integrated man. Now, when it comes to sexual assertiveness, that's danger and excitement, and that's being a predator, not a sexual predator, fellas. I'm talking about a predator of life, going after what it is that you want, being high testosterone, taking high risks, being high energy all the time, being very vigilant, being very aware, right? Danger and excitement, going on adventures, surprising her, right? That's sexual assertiveness, right? You want to have sex, you're going to initiate it. You're not going to sit there and just be scared. I'm telling you guys because I used to do this. I used to want to have sex and then, no, you can't grab her butt because she feels that that's uncomfortable. Okay, if she feels like that's uncomfortable, that means she's not attracted to you. And that means you need to get the fuck out. Because a woman who's fully attracted to you wants you to touch her all day. All day. I'm telling you this from personal experience. They will literally be upset if you don't touch them, if you don't initiate sex. They'll be upset. They'll be upset if you don't have sex with them for one day. That's when a woman truly desires you. So if you're with a woman and she reacts negatively to you touching her and she feels unsafe about it, one, she has traumas that she needs to figure out. Two, you might just be a nice guy and you're actually bringing those traumas back, and I'll explain why. But let's keep going. Then you have safety and care, right? So danger and excitement, but also being a protector. And that creates safety and care. But then you have the integrated man, which is both the predator and the protector. You have both. And I know a lot of red pill guys will say this is dual mating strategy. Yes, you have to maximize both sides of the mating, right? You have to be the guy who's the protector, and you also have to be the guy who's the high testosterone, Chad or Tyrone type, right? And again, for the men who whine and complain and say, well, why? This is too much work. Bow out, bro. Pack it up. Pack yourself up and sit on the sidelines. If you complain about being the best man that you can be, not just, yes, for yourself, and also so a woman can step into a fully integrated man, bow the fuck out. Pack it up, bro. Pack it up and get the fuck out. Because now you don't even want to be the best version of yourself for yourself. You're saying, I have to do all this for women. Way to expose yourself to be worthless, to be really just a bottom feeder, right? But again, women are attracted to men who embody a powerful paradox, right? Where the capacity to be both dangerous and safe is simultaneous. So it's not a contradiction. Again, it's integration, it's congruency. Now, we talk about predator qualities, right? What is that? Sexual assertiveness, competitive drive, bold risk taking, physical strength and capability. That's a fucking Chad or a Tyrone. Protector qualities, emotional stability, moral integrity, reliability and consistency, empathy and understanding. Now, here's the thing. The nice guy shows only a watered down version of the protector side. He does all of this shit: emotional stability, moral integrity, reliability and consistency, empathy and understanding, not because that's him and not because that's what he wants, but because he knows that's what's going to get him in the girl's pants. That's what's going to get him the results he wants with the girl. He's not doing it because that's him. He's doing it because that's something that he can use as a mask. So this missing the edge, they miss the edge that makes a man truly attractive. Without the predator energy, even your most protective qualities seem weak and unconvincing. Because where is your sexual assertiveness? Where is your competitive drive? Are you trying to go after shit every day? Where's the risk taking? What risks are you taking? What myth are you living? Are you living life on the edge? Are you taking risks? Are you on the brink all of the time, just trying shit, you know? And when you integrate both sides, the woman can finally relax into your strength, knowing that you're both exciting and you're trustworthy. Now, signs that you're hiding your shadow, right? You're this nice guy that constantly hides his shadow. We're going to start with the first side, right? Where it's excessive apologizing, right? Where you say sorry for taking up space, having opinions, or even expressing desires. Oh, I want to have sex with you. I don't feel like it right now. No, I don't really want to. Why do you always objectify me? I'm sorry. Excessive apologizing, right? Comfort obsession. You're terrified of making a woman uncomfortable. So you never escalate and you never lead. Again, you're trying to be nice, even though you want to escalate, even though you want to lead, you don't. You stay in the back seat because you don't want to fear making a woman uncomfortable. 3, avoidance, conflict avoidance, right? You agree with everything she says, even when you don't, to prevent any tension. I'll tell you guys, for me, I've had conversations with women where they'll say some dumb shit, some like politically correct bullshit, some liberal politically correct bullshit, and I'll say that is complete nonsense. What are you talking about? I'll literally say that shit. One, because I don't need their validation. I don't need their validation for my existence, for the value that I have. And I have my own values. And if something sounds ridiculous, if something sounds stupid and remedial, I'm going to call that shit out. Right. And I will create that conflict. And what's funny is those same women stay. Those same women constantly stay, at least at that time, right? I'm not talking about now, but I'm saying just in general. Look, they feel something. They're like, damn, there's some conflict. There's some polarity here. You know what I mean? Then it's hidden addictions. Your repressed energy finds outlets in porn, video games, or substance abuse. All of the shit that you repress, the lust that you repress, and you don't want to approach a woman. You don't want to make the move. You don't want to take it to the next level. What are you going to do? Now you're going to get frustrated. You're going to go lock yourself in your closet and watch some fucking porn. Video games. You feel like you're not even in control of your own world. You can't lead shit. So what can you lead, though? A character in a video game. Substance abuse. You feel dead inside. So you take the substance to feel alive. You take an upper to feel alive. Right? Covert contracts. You do nice things while secretly expecting sexual or romantic reciprocation. For guys who want sex, it's like they do all this shit because they want to take the woman home. Or for guys who just want romance and maybe they're celibate until marriage, whatever the fuck they want to call it, you do all these things to get in the relationship just to reciprocate. It's a covert contract. That shit is, it's actually manipulation at its finest. But you see how the dark traits that you have, right? Because I talk about the dark triad traits. I talk about Machiavellianism, which is manipulation. I talk about psychopathy, which is lack of emotion. And then I talk about narcissism, which is being self-centered, right? All of these 3 traits you have inside of you. So when you hold back these traits, they're going to show up in ways like this. Covert contracts that you make with women doing nice things while secretly expecting something sexual or romantic in return is your Machiavellian manipulation skills literally being pushed out, being projected because they've been held in for so long. Then you have passive aggressive behavior, which, by the way, is a feminine trait. Your unexpressed anger emerges as sarcasm, subtle digs, or emotional withdrawal. Now you're playing a woman's game with another woman. Now you become her best friend, or you become one of her annoying friends that she doesn't even fucking like, because women don't even like a lot of the friends that they have. So now you have all this shit, and now you're basically like her. You're like her roommate. There's no sexual polarity. Now you're acting like a woman. You're feminine. Nice guy's always the most feminine person. Now, these behaviors don't just repel women, they poison your relationship with yourself, because the more that you deny your true nature, the more isolated and resentful you become. Breaking this cycle requires radical honesty and courage to face your darkness. Face who the fuck you are, truthfully, all of you, right? Now, integration equals attraction, or better, congruency equals attraction. So when you integrate your shadow, something crazy happens where the energy you were using to maintain the mask becomes available as presence, confidence, and authentic power. You no longer need to try to be attractive. You simply are. That's the thing. A lot of guys waste so much energy trying to fake who the fuck they are that they can't even be present in a conversation. They don't even have the energy to be present in a conversation. They don't have the energy to be confident. They don't have the energy for anything. And so they fumble everything. So shadow integration, you got to understand this, right? Acknowledging and accepting all parts of yourself. What are the darkest parts of yourself, right? And then you go into authentic expression, speaking and acting from your whole self without filters. What it is that you want, what it is that you want to say, you say that shit with no filters. That makes a person extremely charismatic. Somebody who I really like who does this very well is Patrice O'Neal. Shout out to the GOAT. You listen to him, fully authentic, no filter whatsoever. It makes him super charismatic. And even women who hate him when he calls them out, they still love him behind closed doors because he's extremely charismatic, which means he speaks and acts from his whole self without filters. And then you have natural attraction. You're creating powerful polarity, which then draws women towards you. Because all the opposite of what I've just said were feminine traits. Women are all about deception. Women are all about all these things. Men are not. Men are open, right? Genuine connection, right? You build relationships based on truth rather than performance. Now, a man who owns his darkness doesn't need to hide or apologize. His aggression, his lust, his selfishness are all consciously channeled, not eliminated, right? So women feel safe because there's nothing fake. Everything is real. And that's the thing, right? You may have women who they don't even want to have sex with you and you wonder why. Biggest reason why is because you're too nice. You're this nice guy. So you have this mask on, right? So now to her, whenever she has sex with you, it feels like she's having sex with somebody who is assaulting her, sexually assaulting her. I know this sounds dark, but it's true. And the reason why is because sexual assault, by definition, is basically inflicting something sexual on somebody who did not want that to begin with because they don't trust you and they don't know who you are, right? And they reject who you actually are. So by you putting on this mask and you trying to have sex, even with a woman that you've been with for years, it will feel like a violation and they will feel bad about it because of this. This is how deep this shit goes. The rabbit hole goes deep, fellas. If you don't believe me, there's a lot of men who are going to be in the comments who will tell you everything that I'm saying is fucking true. Now, the path to integration. One, you have to admit your shadow. Stop lying about yourself. Name and claim the rage, the lust, the envy, the ambition inside of you. Journal about that shit, all the parts of yourself that you've been ashamed to acknowledge, right? Two, you have to channel your power, which means you have to direct your primal energy into positive outlets, competitive sports, martial arts, creative pursuits, career ambitions, sexual mastery. Transform raw energy into focused power and things that are actually beneficial to yourself in the world. Don't self-destruct based on your own primal energy. Put it into positive outlets. Three, own your nature. Stop apologizing for being a man with masculine desires and drives. Recognize that your shadow qualities, when integrated, are gifts. They're not flaws to be hidden. Last but not least, live authentically, right? So show up raw and congruent in all interactions. Express desires directly, set boundaries clearly, lead decisively. Accept rejection gracefully, knowing that it's just feedback, fellas. Remember, I've been saying this. Feedback loops, not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of something that you may need to improve into yourself. And again, all of these require facing painful truths about yourself, but the reward is freedom from the exhausting charade of niceness and access to genuine connection with women who are drawn to your authentic power. They want to be in your authentic power. And the whole point about this is becoming undeniable because women don't reject nice, they reject fake. You've been fake your whole fucking life. You've been running somebody else's story. It's not yours. The greatest mistake men make is believing that they have to choose between being authentic and being attractive. And the truth is the complete opposite. Your authenticity, your whole like integrated self is what creates that undeniable attraction that a lot of men are looking for. So when you hide your shadow, you become invisible. And again, it's not physically, but it's energetically. So you fade into the background of her life. Another forgettable interaction, another misconnection. So the parts of yourself that you fear will drive her away are the exact things that she's looking for in a man who knows himself completely and isn't afraid to show it, right? That's the thing. You got to get out of that nice guy mediocrity bullshit, right? Step into the full masculine self that you are. No more masks, no more games, no more rejection. All right, fellas? So I hope this was valuable for you. This was a good breakdown. Let me know if you guys like shit like this. I will do more of these types of videos with presentations, everything. I'm about to get an Apple Pen so I can start writing on the iPad if you guys want to see more diagrams and breaking down concepts. But this is very important for you to understand, right? And if you can start to implement this now, I guarantee you will start to see changes in your life 100%. Right. So I appreciate you guys. Again, all of my products, all of my courses, programs, all of that will be in the description. Charisma, communication, fitness, everything, identity shifting, all of that will be in the description. If you feel like you are qualified to work with me one-on-one, you have to be somebody who has momentum in life, who has some financial success, who has had success physically, but you feel like there is something off. You feel like there is a hole. You feel like there is something that is not making you fulfilled. You're not congruent. You feel like you cannot attract women. You feel like everything is getting a lot harder for you for some strange reason, even though you've gotten the things that the red pill told you to get: money, status, cars, all that shit. Still can't even attract women. Incongruency, fellas. So if that's you, link will be in the description as well. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video.